find me, I'll be hanged without a trial, but it's all worthwhile. I'm haunted. The devil got the best of me. I'm wanted, and there will be no rest for me. In wanted, nobody's getting out alive. I'm haunted, but the last man here to die.
Hey folks, welcome to Kaiser's Castle. Today I have a special treat. This is something I'm going to put out. In my book, I'll cover it more extensively, hopefully. You know, I haven't gotten permission to use names, and I'm not going to until that time. But what I will do is I'll tell you, I had an interesting conversation with a brother of mine last night, and I'm not getting into the specifics, but I said, look, everything that's old is new. It's the same shit. It's being recycled. The Hegelian dialectic. And they rely on people, because of oaths and this, that, and the other, to keep their fucking mouths shut. Well, guess what? I'm not breaking this, and nobody else is breaking it, except for the media. Okay? This has already been broken. But I'm going to talk about something. You know, I've seen a bunch of lies in my time in federal service. And I'm sure everybody in federal service has seen the same thing. And they can poo-poo it, whatever, but it's a fact. It's written about me and a certain sergeant, and I will never get into his name because it's not my business. But we were the two people during what was called the Jubail incident. Now, you guys who maybe are not familiar with Jubail, Ras Al Jubail was in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. As you can see, I put a map up so you can see exactly where Jubail was. It was a port city. And anyways, during the Gulf War, the first Gulf War, 90 and 91, the date will come. I'm not going to be specific on this first conversation until I have the ability to have my brother sergeant, who was there with me, to tell me I'm full of shit or tell me I'm right. But this is a fact. We were a part of MP Company, 1st FSG. Our specialty was port security, making a safe port. Okay, that was what we did for a living. The men I served with, I will never shit on. They were all men of valor and honor. And you know that's very important to me. This is the reality of this situation. So, getting into that, I'll bring a little map a little closer so you guys can see exactly how that looked. There we go. So, you see Bahrain wasn't very far, down towards the south. Ras Al Mashab, Ras Al Khafji, yep. See all that? That was our patrol area on Highway Patrol. But we would come back, and we'd always go through the back gate, and I'm not going to give those two people's names because I do not have their permission, but we used to call them M&M. Whenever they went to a gate or Highway Patrol or whatever, we'd be like, M&M's out in that area. That's all I'll say on that. But this date, me and a sergeant were doing Highway Patrol. We both came back, odd synchronicity, and I can't even remember why it happened. But we came to the rear gate. Now, the rear gate in Ras Al Jubail, if you're looking at the map, it's at the bottom, and it's towards the backside. There was another road we built coming into the front, but they don't show it on this map. And that had a jetty system to it. The port was laid out that way. This is just the way it looked like, okay? Now, one night, me and that sergeant both saw it. Eminem, one of them, pops out and he's talking to us and he's looking behind him, you know, like a good military policemen do, observant of everything. And he's like, look at that. And we're busy talking to him through our window screens. I was in a Jeep Cherokee. My sergeant was in a pickup truck. And shit, what they used to call them, it's like something starting with an L, like a light vehicle. I can't remember what it was called. It's a pickup truck, a Dodge pickup truck. He's got his pictures on his page. If he wants to share it and come on, I welcome him to it. And I welcome him to debate it because he knows this is truth. Before this incident happened, the Marine Corps collected all of our chem suits, our chem bio suits, and they gave us new ones, but we only had one apiece. And the way we would have to do it is we would have to have orders from command to bust the seals on those suits. They come in a package. It's sort of like a Pop-Tart, but it goes in a backpack. So here's what happened. Nuts and bolts. M jumps out and says, look at that. And what we see, put your arm in front of you and make it wave like you're breakdancing, but it's sparking at the wrist. And then it blew up in the air. It was the most beautiful thing. It was a full moon in that night. It was lovely. I cannot describe the event any more than that because both me and the sergeant looked up at it. And you could see the warhead or part of the missile spinning like a football kicked. And there was a ship there at that time called the Cape Florida. At that time was loaded with MLRS, multiple launch rocket systems for the Army. And it had a masthead fore and aft. And so what it looked like was some superstar football player kicking a field goal. It was actually beautiful. Field goal being kicked, the thing spinning through the uprights. We both looked at each other like we both knew if that hit that ship, bad juju was going to happen. I'll never forget this night, and neither will he. He may have a different recollection, and that's fine. But this is a fact. So what ended up happening, and it's been listed now. Matter of fact, the maps I've got are from a declassified thing, and the British were the first to write on it back in the late 90s when the internet was so real, when only like trusted news sources were putting it out. But the Brits wrote on it. Me and him got in our vehicles, ran down to Jette because it sounded like a beer can crashing, a giant beer can crashing. Trust me, I've got a dead man switch that all of this gets leaked and my book gets instantly published. So I don't worry about this shit. But I'm telling you some factual things. Just an odd circumstance that I find myself in that I keep stumbling into bullshit. Maybe it's odd, maybe it's planned. Who knows? I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, nobody told us to mask. Nobody told us we were taking a pill called pyridostigmine bromide. And what that was nerve agent pretreatment. It gave you small doses. It was not even allowed to be made in America. All the little blister packs came from, actually it came from Amsterdam, Holland. It was not even certified by the FDA. We all had bad reactions to it later, but this, I can tell you, guarantee you, saved me and that sergeant's life. So we get out there and we're writing our report. The missile was still hot, or the remains of it, the remnants of it. And the Brits compound was right next to that gate, and it's saying, gas, gas, gas. Everybody in the military knows what that means. And they come out and they had a Navy guy attached to them, and that's pretty much where this leaked out, was through the Navy. So it's open source, so nobody can really come after me over this one. I'm gonna fucking start leaking more shit because I'm pissed about a lot of shit, about a lot of cover-ups that you guys don't know. This is my first cover-up that I saw and I was a part of. So I'm telling you about this. That's a fact. I'm not gonna bullshit you. Come shit or bleed. The lies I only did for the government. Lying's done. I'm a free man. Fuck them. Here's the point. We're out there writing our reports on the hoods of our vehicles, laughing and joking as this thing is still red hot. We could see it. It was, it had like steam coming off of it is what it looked like, honestly. So I don't think the warhead actually broke. I think it was just so hot from air travel that it was boiling out, honestly, the friction of air travel. It was an Al Hussein missile, and our Patriot did not take it down. Patriots didn't launch that night. This is a fact. We had different code words we'd say, you know, kickoff, interception, that kind of shit. None of those were said, so our Patriots didn't even fire, in all honesty, in the port of Ras Al Jubail. And I have pictures of them on my page. I should have downloaded them to show you what those Patriot missiles look like and where they were at. And they could have intercepted it. But instead, we're out there writing our reports. Then a lorry, a British lorry, and it had a Navy EOD tech. It might have been two of them, but I only remember talking to the one. And I think he was an E7 or E6. I could be wrong, but I think so. And I know the Sergeant Major who gave us our brief on different ordnance was there. And what I mean by that is a Royal Ordnance guy. You know, not our Sergeant Major, but a Royal Ordnance guy. So here's what happens, factually. They put down the little old 1980s, late 80s, 90s detector, and they're like, there's nerve agent here, and they're all masked up. And we're still writing our reports. We're like, yeah, whatever, man. You know, the thing, something's wrong with the thing. I have had no bad experiences from this. I'm not going to speak for Sergeant. He'll come on when he wants to come on, or he won't. And I don't care either way. He's a good man. The point is, I want him on so he can dispute me or correct me if I have a false memory, and I could have that. So please, don't act like I'm trying to do this behind his back, because I would never do that to a brother. So here's the point. They're getting readings saying there's nerve agent here. We're both looking at them like they're crazy. Well, here's what ends up happening. The British were the first to publish about the Jubail incident, the Ras Al Jubail incident. And that was in late 90s, maybe. The internet was still young, and it was in a British publication. Now, I'm finding it everywhere. If you look up Jubail incident, you'll find it. And it's being written by the Americans. Anyways, our two reports we wrote, our military police reports, and the EOD reports from both English and the American EOD tech. There may have been another one, but I don't remember seeing him. The Navy, they were Navy EOD techs, were there. And guess what? We were told to shut our mouths. It didn't happen. But the Brits published it. Think about that. Now, after the Gulf War illness and all that weird shit happened, somehow it's getting published now. And like I said, this is from, these maps are from that report. And they show some different things, like frog missiles that were loaded with stuff. And that was from Bastion. This is an Army report. The Navy report hasn't really been released yet. So maybe that's still secret. Who cares, honestly, at this point? It's lies. And like I told you in numerous shows, I'm done with the lying. These fuckers need to realize, you know, I carried a gun in my hand. I know that I'm hunted because of what the fuck I know about these people. And I've been doing this for a long, fucking time since my Army days. And seen a bunch of lies come through, even federally. Don't think that's not going to come out. It is. And guess what? Here's the good part. I did a show, my last show that actually YouTube didn't take down, was about cleaners and MIB, Men in Black, cleaners. It's all, to us, it's a double entendre. It's all bullshit. But if you're actually in the game, you'd know what that is. And as you're looking at the picture that I have displayed now, if you were to move your vision slightly to the left after the last light bar that you see, that was the direction of the Cape Florida. This picture was taken before that night. And this is sunset because we all worked at night. And like I said, the sparking, it was the most beautiful thing I've seen. It was awesome watching it explode and twist and turn like a field goal. Panic briefly when we thought it might hit the Cape Florida. And then it just impacted like a big-ass beer can is what it sounded like. And then we just flew down there to that jetty. And there it lay, smoldering. You can believe it or not, I really don't give a fuck. Hopefully, Sergeant and Eminem, if I can ever find either of them, they've disappeared. Would love to have them on to talk about that night. Because they were awesome dudes. But somehow they disappeared and have no idea why. But there is a dead man switch. And the book's written. The final version I'm not happy with, but the basics are there. The truth will come out if something happens. I'm not worried. I'm not a panic. I'm not even... I don't give a fuck. I'm 50. I've raised my kid. He's awesome. And, you know, I have a lovely marriage. So fuck them all. And until you come to that point, get truthful. And with that being said, I'll be publishing this. It'll come out later tonight, and I'll be in the chat. But this is a show that I've wanted to do, and I wish my sergeant would have been able to do it with me, but there may be issues, and that's fine. I'm not dragging anybody into my banquet. Trust me. I'm fine with it being my banquet. But everybody knows this is a fact, and this is what happened in Ras Al Jubail, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, in 1990 and 91. God bless, be well, be safe. Thank you for stopping by Kaiser's Castle. I'm going to raise the drawbridge and sitting on my big orange couch, drinking your coffee, tea, soda, or adult libation. Shuff out.